The starting point for many lighting designs is the placement of lighting fixtures in the architectural model, so that's where we'll begin. Let's open the Level 1 ceiling plan in the architectural model, then zoom into the large area planned as a retail space at the north end of the building. We'll open the Place Component tool, then choose a pendant light from the type chooser. For placing these lights, we'll choose Place on Face from the placement options. Then we'll return to the ceiling plan and place one of the fixtures in the upper left corner of the space. Lighting fixtures are typically placed in regular patterns to create the desired architectural effect and the right amount of light for the spaces where they are placed. For our retail space, we'll use a rectangular grid of the pendant fixtures to provide an even lighting level throughout. We'll start by selecting the single pendant light, then use the Array tool in the Modify Lighting Fixtures tab to create a column of lights. We'll enter 9 as the number of lights in the array, choose Move to the last fixture in the row, and turn off the Group and Associate option so the fixtures will be independent. Then we'll select a point on the first pendant fixture and move the cursor down and click the location where the last fixture should be placed. An array of 9 fixtures is created between these points. Next, we'll select our column of 9 fixtures and array them in the other direction to create a grid. Start by right-clicking on one of the pendant fixtures and use the Select All Instances command to select all of them in the view. We'll use the Array tool again to copy the column of 9 fixtures, entering 4 as the number of columns in the array. Again, we'll use the Move to Last option and we'll uncheck the Group and Associate option. Select a point on the first column, then move the cursor to the right and click the location where the last column should be placed. We now have a 4x9 grid of the pendant fixtures. Let's open a 3D view. Then we can orbit the view and move the face of the section box to see pendant fixtures placed on the ceiling of the retail space. We're now ready to begin our electrical design by copying the lighting fixtures from the architectural model into a Revit MEP project. We'll start by setting up our Revit MEP model by copying in the shared levels and grids from the architectural model. Open the Link Revit tool that appears in the Insert tab to link in a Revit model file. Be sure to choose the Origin to Origin Position option to make sure your project coordinates are aligned with the linked model. The linked model appears in the drawing area. Now let's open the East Electrical Elevation view that appears in the Power section of the project browser. We'll select the linked model, then use the Pin tool to lock the position of the linked model. Next, we'll copy the shared levels and grids from the linked model into our host project to help us get started. Use the Copy Monitor tool in the Collaborate tab and select the linked model. Then we'll click the Copy tool and turn on the Multiple option to copy in several items all at once. Use a drag selection to copy all of the available elements, after which we'll filter a selection to include only the grids and levels. Click OK to close the filter dialog, and we'll click Finish in the options bar to complete our selections in this view. Now we'll open the South Elevation view so we can select the grids that run in the north-south direction. Again, using the Copy tool with the multiple options, we'll drag select all the elements available, followed by the Filter tool to include only the grids. As our next step, we'll copy in the lighting fixtures from the architectural model into our Revit MEP host project. We'll use the Copy Monitor tool again and select the linked model. Then we'll use the Coordination Settings tool to specify how we'd like the lighting fixtures copied in. For the copy behavior, we'll choose to copy them individually or as a batch. We'll choose Copy Individually. Then for the mapping behavior, we'll choose to copy the original fixture types rather than mapping them into different types in our MEP model. Now use the Copy tool and select each of the fixtures to be copied. As you select each fixture, a small heartbeat symbol appears above it to indicate that this fixture has been copied and any changes to it will be monitored. You can use a drag selection to copy many of the fixtures all at once, and you don't have to worry about duplicates. They won't be copied again. Let's filter out the grid so only the lighting fixtures are copied. Then finish our selection, and finally click the Finish checkmark to complete our copying. Having copied in the shared elements, we can create some working views to assist with our lighting and electrical design tasks. First, let's create some floor plan views for each of the levels in the project. They'll appear in the project browser under the Mechanical Power Floor Plans section in the outline, but we'll move them to a better place. Select the plan views in the list, then in the Properties palette, change the discipline for these views to Electrical. Similarly, let's change the subdiscipline from Power to Lighting. Click Apply, and when we return to the project browser, you'll see that the views have been moved to the Electrical Lighting section of the outline. Now let's create some reflected ceiling plan views in a similar way. Again, we'll change the discipline for these new views to Electrical and the subdiscipline to Lighting, and click Apply to place these ceiling plan views in the appropriate section of the project browser list. Let's make another needed adjustment to the settings of our Level 1 ceiling plan. In the Extend section of the Properties palette, click the Edit button next to the view range. The view range for our new ceiling plan is set to 10 feet above the associated level. Since our Level 1 is 15 feet tall, we'll extend the top of the primary range as well as the depth. We could enter a specific elevation, but it's even safer to choose the level above for the top of the primary range and the depth. That way, if the levels ever change, the view range will automatically adjust. Finally, let's adjust the east elevation view so we can see how the light fixtures line up with the floors and ceilings in the linked model. We'll use the VG shortcut, then open the Revit Links tab to adjust the visibility of the linked model. Change the display settings for the linked model from By Host View to Custom View, and we'll do the same for the display of elements in the host model. We'll turn off the visibility of all the categories in the host model, then turn on only the ceilings, floors, lighting devices, and lighting fixtures. Then click OK, and when we return to the elevation view, we can see the lighting fixtures located on the ceiling elements. We're now ready to connect the lighting fixtures in our Revit MEP project into a series of electrical circuits. We'll be adding electrical panels to distribute power to the circuits and switches to control the lights. Let's start by adding the electrical panels and creating the power distribution systems. We'll open the Level 2 floor plan in the lighting section of the browser. Then open the Electrical Equipment tool in the Home tab. We'll use the selected electrical panel board type and use the Place on Vertical Face option to place this panel on a wall in the utility room near the stairwell. Let's zoom in on the wall and place the panel on the left side. Then we'll scroll down to the electrical circuit properties for this panel and confirm that the distribution system is set to the desired system properties. Next, we'll create a lighting circuit to connect some of the light fixtures to this panel. Let's return to the Level 2 floor plan, and we'll pan and zoom in the view so that we can see all of the lighting fixtures placed in the corridor. Right-click on one of the fixtures, and then use the Select All Instances Visible in the View command to select all of the fixtures in the corridor. The Modify Lighting Fixtures tab appears, and we can choose to create a new power or switch system for these lights. Let's use the Create Power System tool, and the Electrical Circuits tab appears with options for creating the circuit. We'll start by showing the wire connections between the fixtures, using the arc wire convention to specify that these wires will be concealed. Arc wire segments appear between all of the selected light fixtures, showing that they are connected into a circuit. Now let's select the electrical panel for this circuit. Click the Select Panel tool, then select the panel that we placed in the utility room. Now we'll connect lighting fixtures to switches and create a switch system for the circuit. We'll look at the retail space on level 1. These pendant light fixtures have already been connected into a circuit and linked to a panel. Let's open the Device pull-down on the Home tab and select the Lighting Switch tool. Use the Type selector to choose the desired type of switch. We'll use a single pole switch for these lights. We'll use the Place on Vertical Face option to place this switch on a wall. Let's set the elevation for the switch to be 4 foot 6 inches, slightly higher than the standard 48 inches. Then we'll zoom in near the entry to the space and click to place a switch on the wall. Having placed the switch, we can now create a switch system to indicate which lighting fixtures this switch controls. Right-click on one of the fixtures, then use the Select All Instances Visible in the View command to select all the fixtures in the space. Open the Create Systems panel, and this time only Switch System tool is available, because a power system has already been created for these lights. Choose the Switch System tool, and the Switch Systems tab appears with options for creating the system. Click the Select Switch tool, then zoom in and select the switch. Lines appear in the plan view showing all of the fixtures that are connected to this switch. You can review all of the power and switching systems defined in your project and the elements associated with each system in Revit MEP's system browser. Switch to the View tab, then open the User Interface drop-down to turn on the System Browser view, and it appears below the drawing area. The System Browser lists all the MEP systems. You can expand the Electrical, then Power section, and you'll see the lighting and appliance panel boards placed in the project, and the circuits assigned to each panel. Each circuit shows all of the fixtures assigned to that circuit, and the total load created by the fixtures in the circuit. This entry in the System Browser corresponds to the panel that we placed on level 2, and the circuit for the corridor lighting fixtures. As the next step in our electrical design, we'll place some electrical receptacles, which many people refer to as outlets, to provide power for the office equipment, appliances, and all the other devices that are plugged in. These loads are often called plug loads. Let's start by loading some of the receptacle types that we'll need for the design of our power system and place them on the walls. We'll work on the retail space in the Level 1 floor plan. Open the Device drop-down on the Home tab and choose the Electrical Fixture tool. Revit reports that no electrical fixture families are loaded in our project, so we'll choose to load some now from the library. Open the Electrical Components, Electric Power, Terminals folder, and we'll choose the duplex receptacle from the list of families. Let's zoom in on the wall near the entry. And we'll use the Place on Vertical Face option. Let's set the elevation to 2 feet for a special need. This is a bit higher than the 18-inch elevation typical for most standard wall receptacles. And let's change from the special GFCI type to a standard receptacle before placing it. Now we can click on the face of the wall and a receptacle is placed. Let's pan over to the side of the entry and place a few on this side as well. Zooming in, you can see the 4 receptacles that we've placed. Now let's create a circuit to connect these receptacles and link the circuit to a panel. We'll right-click on one of the receptacles and select all instances in this view. The Modify Electrical Fixtures tab appears, and we can open the Create Power Systems tool. We'll click the Select Panel tool in the Electric Circuits tab and select the panel in the Utility room. Note how the wires to connect the receptacles are ghosted in. We can click the Arc Wire tool to draw these wires, using the Arc option to indicate that these wires should be concealed.